So one of the more frustrating things I've come across while using something like the HX Stomp is when I go to take a lead boost, I haven't dialed in the lead boost properly to be able to be heard over the rest of the band. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to set up a proper lead boost using the Helix and the HX Stomp. I'm going to be using the HX Stomp XL. So let's hop into HX Edit and let's get into it. All right, so the first tip to make your leads stand up, it's the most tried and true tip, and it's to basically just take a gain pedal, distortion pedal, overdrive pedal, and put it in front of your amp. So this is what we have so far. And with a tube screamer. So and with a tube screamer. The problem with this method though is if you're running a higher gain amp like this PV Panama, you're going to get a lot more compression, a lot more gain, and you're not going to really cut through a whole lot. But it works a lot better when you're running a clean amp. So let's move this over to a clean deluxe reverb. Now let's add some gain. As you can tell, it cuts through a lot more. It gets a little bit louder when you're using the clean amp, not so much when you're using a dirty amp. And obviously you can just assign that pedal to one of your foot switches. So you literally just tap on a button on your pedal and you have a lead boost. So let's talk about some other ways, because not everybody's going to be playing through a clean amp, and you need to figure out how to have a lead boost when you're running through a dirty amp. So the second way to do it is by boosting up the signal by 3 to 4 dB. Best way I find to do it is by using an EQ, a simple EQ in this case, right after the cabinet block. And basically you're leaving the low, mids, and high gains as completely as 0, because you're not wanting to change any EQ frequency here. You're basically just going to take the EQ level and boost it up by 3 or 4. So here it is without it on. And here it is with it on. You can tell it definitely gets a little bit louder, and it will definitely make sure that you can be heard through the mix. So when you're doing this, want to make sure when you're EQing it live, making sure that you have the level set. Play around with this as your loudest setting, or whatever your loudest setting is when you're doing this, to make sure that you don't clip, particularly if you're just going straight into the soundboard. So this will be completely null and void if you have your clipped highest setting as without the dB on. And then you go to take a lead boost, and the sound man realizes that you're clipping. So you want to make sure that you're setting levels when you're having literally your maximum amount of volume. So this will help you get cut through the mix though. So let's move on to tip number 3. So the third way is if you have a volume pedal or an expression pedal, which I highly recommend you do have an expression pedal. If you're interested in learning more about that, check out the video up here in the corner. But you use your volume expression pedal to make sure to give yourself essentially just a lead boost. So instead of a EQ in that position, let's change it to a volume pan, change it to a volume pedal. Let's go to controller setting, make sure that the volume pedal is assigned to expression pedal 2 or 1, wherever you're in, right? And then you're going to come down here to minimum position, and that's basically what your heel is going to be. And I like to set this at maybe say 80. 85, right? That's good volume. And then the max position, so when it's in its toe position all the way down, it's at 100. So you want to keep it at heel position when you're playing your rhythms, when you're playing most of the things. But when you want to take a lead boost, that 15% of more volume, go ahead and rock it forward to the toe position, and you got 15% more volume going into your system. And if you want to put it here, that will literally affect only the volume, but if you put it at the beginning of your signal chain, they'll affect your tone. So I like to put it at the end after the cabinet, after the tone stacking feature. So that way you're like, all right, I need a solo. All you have to do is literally rock that thing forward and you have your solo tone. So the fourth way, and it's a simple one button switch way, is to go to your delay. And this will only work as long as it's not 100% in the mix. So if you're like 57 or whatever, and you want to go to the level section and essentially just add 3 to 4 dB. And when you kick on your delay, because delay is usually used in solo sounds, you will get 4 extra dB. So here it is without it. And then add the simple delay. You got 4 extra dB there. Sloppy guitar playing, but I am learning that solo. So there you go. There is tip number 4. The next way is to use a simple tried and true method of using an external guitar pedal. And the best way to do this is you can either run it beforehand, it will work beforehand, but if you're looking for just a volume boost, now this is a Klon style pedal, but say you had like a transparent overdrive or you want some coloration, what you want to essentially do is put this into the effects loop here. And when you put that in the effects loop, it will go add to your signal, and you can add some, you can add a little bit of an EQ and a little bit of a boost there. So what you want to do is grab, I like to do it right before a cab, go ahead and hit send return, effects loop left, and guess what? When it returns, you can make it a little bit hotter there too. So connect it through the effects loop here, turn it on your pedal, or you can just add a little bit of gain there if you don't want the coloration there. So different method that works just as well as the EQ method if you're not going to run an external pedal. Some people do like to run an external pedal. Like I said, this is the Klon style pedal, so it's going to add some coloration as well, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're trying to get heard and cut through the mix, so you can have a more cutting tone dialed in on an external pedal. The cool thing about that is you don't have to go through menus when you're playing live. You can just twist a couple knobs if you're not liking what you're hearing. Hopefully that helps you out in your live settings. If you're looking for more HX Stomp tutorials, check out this playlist over there, and I will see you in a future video. And until then, let the music play.